Hello everyone, my name is David. Today we're going to take a look at another horrible case with you. On October 23, 2018 in Bangalore, there was a customer care office of a company named Oracle, located on the 7th floor of the building. At this time, the entire staff was working their night shift, and it was around 11:45 p.m. when a security guard from the company approaches an employee and tells him that two people have come to meet him, waiting in the waiting room. The employee wonders who could come to meet him around midnight, as none of his friends had ever come to meet him at such a late hour before, so a slight fear crosses his mind. With a bit of hesitation, he goes to the waiting room, where two individuals were waiting for him. Both of them were tall and broad. As he approaches them, one of the men extends his hand and says, "Hello, Mr. Tarun." Upon hearing the name Tarun, the employee is surprised and starts trembling because he hadn't heard that name for almost 15 years. No one had called him Tarun before today. His wife, children, and all his friends knew him by the name Parveen Batale. This man had concealed his identity from everyone. But today, after nearly 15 years, he hears this name from someone's mouth. As he shakes hands with the man, he starts examining Tarun's fingers. One of Tarun's fingers was broken. Then the man says to Tarun, "Come on, Mr. Tarun. Your game is over. Now, we'll take you to your real home below." There was a police car, and the two men who had come to the company were not just anyone, but police officers. Then Tarun is brought to Ahmedabad on October 24, 2018. During this time, a police officer sends a message to a senior officer with just one line: "We have shown him." But Tarun was still sitting there, pondering how the police caught him after 15 years. How did the police finally reach him? To understand what this man had done and why the police caught him, we'll have to go 15 years back. Now it's February 14th, 2003, and in Ahmedabad, there was a husband and wife. The husband's name was Tarun, and the wife's name was Sajni. They had gotten married just 3 months ago, in December 2002. Tarun was a sports teacher at a school, and his wife Sajni worked at a bank. Apart from that, Tarun was also a volleyball coach. Their marriage was arranged. Everything was going well in their lives. Tarun and his wife both lived in an apartment. Whenever Tarun had to go out for a volleyball match, he would tell his wife Sajni, "Don't stay alone in the apartment, there are often thefts here. So go to your father's house." Sajni's father's house was not far from their apartment, so whenever Tarun had a match, Sajni would go to her father's house. Sajni went to her father's house for the last time on February 5, 2003. While leaving, she told her father that she needed some money to fill up the gas in the car. Her father, surprised, asked her, "Is your son-in-law taking care of you properly?" Sajni seemed very upset and replied, "Dad, there's nothing like that." And saying this, she left the house. Her father found it strange. He felt something might not be right between the two. But he didn't take this matter too seriously, as small arguments often happen between husband and wife. Then comes the day of February 14th, 2003, around 7:30 p.m. Sajni has a conversation with her elder sister on the phone for about 15 minutes. Exactly 2 hours later, Tarun calls Sajni's father and says, "Come to the hospital quickly. Sajni's condition has become very critical." Hearing this news, family members quickly rush to the hospital, and upon reaching the hospital, they find out that Sajni has passed away. Tarun, sitting in a corner, was crying loudly. Sajni's death occurred by strangulation with a scarf. When the police arrive there, Tarun tells them that some jewelry and money have been stolen from our house. All the belongings are scattered here and there. The police also think that maybe some thieves came to steal, and they might be the ones who caused Sajni's death. Tarun was in a terrible state, crying uncontrollably, and due to grief, his condition worsened even more. Therefore, he couldn't even attend his wife's funeral. During this time, Tarun was admitted to the hospital because his condition was deteriorating, and his family was providing him with emotional support. On the other hand, the police were compiling a list of all the thieves in the area. 2 days later, on February 16, 2003, Tarun's elder brother's phone call reaches the police, saying that Tarun has escaped from the hospital. Hearing this news, the police are shocked. The police couldn't believe that Tarun had escaped from the hospital, although there was no one keeping an eye on Tarun. The police believed that Tarun was entirely innocent, as he was in a pitiful state, and they felt sympathetic towards him. That's why he was admitted to the hospital. However, now he had disappeared from the hospital. After this, suspicions arose on the police, and Sajni's family was now asking the police why they let Tarun escape. This case had gained media attention, and as a result, there was increasing pressure on the police. Now the police started actively searching for Tarun. During this time, Tarun's family was also imprisoned by the police, but was released after a few days because they had no involvement in the case. Tarun used to live alone with his wife in an apartment, while the rest of the family lived separately. The police searched for Tarun throughout the city, conducting blockades at various places. However, they couldn't find any trace of Tarun. Sajni's family had exerted immense pressure on the police, leading the police to offer a reward for information about Tarun. Anyone providing information about Tarun was promised a reward of 1 lakh rupees, but even this incentive did not yield any results. The police's efforts were in vain. Later, the police discovered that Tarun had been harassing Sajni since their marriage because he was involved in an affair with another girl. The police gradually traced the girl with whom Tarun had an affair. The girl informed the police that on February 16th, Tarun had called her and proposed marriage. However, by that time, she had already received news of Sajni's death. Consequently, she outright refused Tarun's proposal, stating that she couldn't marry someone involved in a murder. After that, there was no contact between Tarun and the girl. Slowly, 6 years passed since the incident, and there was no news of Tarun from the police. Police had kept a close eye on Tarun's family, expecting him to return or make contact, but Tarun never came to meet his family during this period. Subsequently, the police learned that, exactly 6 years after this incident, Tarun met his parents in another state. Just one day after meeting Tarun, his father passed away. The police assumed that Tarun would now return to see his father one last time. However, the police were wrong. Tarun did not come to see his father for the last time. Time passed, and the police gradually slowed down their investigation. As the years went by, it was now the year 2016. A new officer joined the police department, and upon reviewing the case file, he inquired about the updates on this case. The police informed him that Tarun's father had passed away, and his mother remained mostly ill, residing in Madhya Pradesh, while his other son, Tarun's brother, lived in Ahmedabad. However, there was still no information about Tarun. The police conducted another investigation, dressed in plain clothes, around Tarun's mother's house, checking if any boy came to meet her. However, during the investigation, the police found no leads. Subsequently, the police called the girl with whom Tarun had an affair. She mentioned that she had not spoken to Tarun since that day. However, some friends had recently informed her that they had seen someone resembling Tarun in a mall in Delhi. The police then formed a team that went to Delhi and checked all the CCTV cameras in the mall, but found no trace of Tarun. Afterwards, there were reports of sightings of Tarun in different states. The police now firmly believed that Tarun was alive. Subsequently, the police examined around 4,000 mobile numbers associated with Tarun's family and all his friends, thinking that they might find a lead. The police still had confidence that something would eventually come up that would lead them to Tarun. They had not given up hope. The police were tracing Tarun's mother's phone and paying attention to all her calls, trying to identify the people she was talking to. Despite their efforts, the police had not found any substantial leads yet, but they were hopeful that Tarun might make some mistake that would lead to his capture. One day a call came to his mother's mobile from a landline, and the number was from the city of Bengaluru. The city is often referred to as the Silicon Valley of India, where people come from far and wide to work. The number from which the call came belonged to a customer care service of an Oracle company in Bengaluru. This made the police wonder about the connection between Tarun's mother and the Oracle company. After many years, the police had a small lead, but a lead nonetheless. Following this, a police team went from Ahmedabad to Bengaluru, the police had a hunch that Tarun might be working at Oracle. Subsequently, on October 22, 2018, the police went to Bengaluru and met with the HR department of the Oracle company. They requested details of all the employees, without disclosing the fact that they were looking for a specific person. The police stated that they needed the employee list to maintain law and order. The HR department complied and provided them with the list of all the employees in their company. The police were aware that if anyone got wind of their arrival, Tarun would escape from there, and they would lose their lead. Therefore, the police were extremely cautious from their end. The list that the police had did not contain the name Tarun. The police started to believe that their efforts were in vain. However, on this list, one name seemed familiar to the police: Parveen Batele. Later, the police remembered that Tarun's mother had occasionally spoken to a man named Parveen Batele, and she also had conversations with his wife, Nisha. Based on this, the police started gathering information about Parveen Batele and Nisha. Subsequently, the police discovered that Parveen and Nisha were not active on social media. This surprised the police because, in today's time, almost everyone shares their pictures on social media. Moreover, the police knew that Tarun's mother frequently talked to Parveen Batele. In addition, Parveen and Nisha had 2 children. The police started to suspect whether Parveen Batele could be Tarun himself. Therefore, the police began gathering evidence against him. The police knew that when Tarun was a volleyball coach in school, one of his fingers, on which people often wear a ring, had a broken and slightly bent. On October 23rd, 2 police officers went to the Oracle company's customer care office in Bangalore. Later, a receptionist informed Parveen Batele that 2 people were here to meet him. When one of them, an officer, shook hands with Parveen, he recognized Tarun from the broken finger and said, "Tarun, your game is over." Upon hearing the name Tarun, Parveen's condition worsened. Tarun was caught due to a landline number. On that day, Tarun's mobile phone was not working, and he was worried about his mother. Therefore, he accidentally dialed his office's landline number to contact his mother, which turned out to be his biggest mistake. If Tarun had not called from the landline number, perhaps he would never have been caught to this day. Later, the police also discovered that Tarun's mother had another mobile phone registered in the name of a distant relative, and he mostly spoke to his mother on that number, which the police had not traced. After that, the police bring Tarun back to Ahmedabad, where he admits his mistake and confesses that yes, he is the one who killed his wife. He then tells the police the entire story. After the murder, he went to his friend proposing marriage, but his friend rejected him. Subsequently, he went to Pune, where he started a small job, and there he met Nisha. He had told Nisha that he was an orphan with no one in this world, and that's where their friendship blossomed. They eventually got married. Afterward, both of them arrived in Bangalore in 2009, and there Tarun started working for the Oracle company. One surprising fact was that even Tarun's wife knew that her husband's name was Parveen Batele. Now, the question arises: how did Tarun adopt the name Parveen Batele? After that, the police also investigated this. The police found out that during school time, Tarun had a friend named Parveen Batele. Tarun revealed that after the murder, he stayed in Bhopal for a few days, and Parveen Batele also resided in Bhopal during that time. There, he spent some days with his friend, and during that period, he scanned all of his friend's ID proofs. While the name on the documents was Parveen Batele, he put his own picture and concealed his identity. Now his identity was established as Parveen Batele. So this was the story of a person who deceived the police for 15 years, but due to a small mistake, he was finally caught. If you appreciate our efforts, like and share this video. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, do so now. Thank you.